Hi, my name is Nicola Covarrubias, and these are the amide effects on consumer choice. So my study focused on whether or not the secondary metabolites, piperine, piplertine, or a combination of both, had any effect on consumers' preference for eating piper fruit. We found that in combination with each other, piperine and piplertine have both either a synergistic or antagonistic effect depending on which species of a consumer's was eating it. I focused on either insects or bats, finding that insects had with a combination of both piperine and piplertine had an antagonistic effect, which means that the combination was rendered ineffective and had no significant effect compared to piperine and piplertine by itself. For bats, the combination treatment was shown to have a synergistic effect, which means that the presence of a combination of both piperine and piplertine increased the chances that a bat would consume the piper fruit. So the main finding is that piper fruit have a higher chance of attracting insects when they only contain at least one amide, and have a higher chance of attracting just bats when the amides piperine and piplertine are in combination with each other. This figure that I generated shows the average number of consumers that chose to eat the fruit with either piperine, piplertine, or a combination of both. So for insects, both piperine and piplertine by itself had a higher average compared to the combination of the amides, while bats had a higher average of eating the fruit when the amides were in combination with each other. The rationale behind this is that piper fruits have secondary metabolites called amides that help in their defense against pests and pathogens. These amides are considered highly diverse, and their effect may influence the preference of fruit for these pests and seed dispensers that feed on them. So why do we care? These findings can help us better understand how metabolites affect consumers' fitness, since it's directly correlated to the preference for certain fruit. Understanding which fruits are preferred by the consumers can also help us understand why chemical ecology and chemical diversity is an important aspect of environment. I pulled my data from two papers. From figure 4 of paper 1, it shows the effect of secondary metabolites on insect preference for fruit, showing that there is a negative slope, which means that there is no effect for the combination of both piperine and piplertine, and that there is a higher effect for just piperine and piplertine alone. From this data on the right side, data from figure 4, we see that each row is one trial. 0 for choice, it means that the insects did not eat the fruit, and a 1 means that the insects did eat the fruit. And these insects were given certain concentrations of all three of the treatment groups, piperine, piplertine, and a combination. I took the average from each concentrations of whether or not the insects ate the fruit or not, and then I took the standard deviation to create the error bars on my graph. The data from the second paper shows the same thing. It shows, except for bats. It shows that the average consumption of the fruits for either piperine or piplertine, or a combination, is shown on figure 2. This data was used to calculate the average amount of bats that chose one of the 3 treatment groups. And then the standard deviations was calculated from this as well. I compared my own graph to these two figures from paper 1 and paper 2 and found that it supported my hypothesis that a combination of both piperine and piplertine had a synergistic or antagonistic effect depending on the consumers.